Okay, so let's talk about the supplies. We of course are using the Finetec Iridescent and the Finetec Pearlescent colors because I have found that these are just absolutely divine. Although I have a bone to pick with Finetec here because this was brand new and I used it yesterday and turns out your cakes are hollow. What? These things are super expensive. I would kind of expect for this whole thing to be filled up, but no, it's not. So I'm not exactly happy about that. Yeah, wow is right. Okay.
Why do you use the iridescent interference watercolors?
Well, I use them because because
fish are sparkly through.
So yeah, and it takes a page from looking like this, because this one doesn't have any of the glitter on it, to looking like this, where it actually looks, that's what the fish looks like. So, and I have been obsessed with fish my entire life because they are shimmery and shiny. That is my jam. That is why that's one of the reasons why I love them so much. The other reason is they live on a whole nother planet from us because they're under the water. So anyway, back to this. So we've got the Finetec Pearlescents. I think I have all of them that they make. And I'm gonna have to find another company. There's a company on Instagram that sells watercolors that I am super interested in playing with their colors as well, because they're all the Chroma, Prisma, whatever colors, and they make them themselves and it's just mesmerizing. Prismacolor pencils on this. Obviously, we're going to be using all the blues and all the grays on this one, so let's just get right into this. First and foremost, I think I want to start with the inside of this fish's mouth. So I'm going to grab the Nectar color and see if this is a good fit for me. Again, coloring on the edge, not with the point. Super, super, super light. Not getting crazy with it. This is almost too dark. Trying to just focus on what I can see in the reference photo, what I can't see. My goodness, these fish are beautiful. I'm gonna put that one down. I'm gonna grab, this one's probably too bright, but I'm gonna grab it anyway. Deco Pink, and I have learned that the Deco colors are like in yo face bright. In yo face bright. So they ain't kidding when they say Deco. Okay, I'm gonna just come in here and slather up some of this pink all up in here, like so. Oh yeah, yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Okay, now, shadow colors are not black, they're blue. Well, in this fish's mouth, that's the case anyway. There's a whole lot of things for me to teach you about this. All the tricks to the trade. You have to learn how to isolate the colors. Once you learn how to isolate the colors, then all of this becomes almost like a paint by number, but you kind of have to, you have to layer, you have to be willing to put the layers in. So each layer acts as a paint by number for that layer, and then you layer on some more and layer on some more, and then you throw in the whoop pow bam with all of the metallic colors on the top, and you're like, how did I do that? Okay, and I'm gonna say it's because I'm such a great teacher. All right, here we go. So, Blue Slate was the first one I picked up. May or may not be too dark for this. We'll see. We're gonna get in here and start putting a little love down here. I don't know if y'all can see this or not, because I can barely see it. These fish have skin that expands when they open their mouth, and so we want to make sure that we're representing that properly here. So I'm just kind of laying in some of the blue. I'm putting a little bit of the blue on directly on top of the pink there. There's going to be a little bit of a ridge here in the mouth where there's like a shadow from the mouth being open and ready to go. these are all the little details that make your picture painting. I'm gonna call it a painting because I finished with paint, so therefore it is. But those are the details that make this more realistic. Paying attention to those things is what helps. Let me tell you how hard it is to paint the inside of the mouth of a fish. It's a bit challenging, to say the least. Okay, I'm going to now grab blush pink. And I'm going to do a deep, heavy sigh because I have to really start paying attention to what I'm doing here. And then there's like another. There's that. And I need a little darker color in there. I'm gonna just go. I have the black in my hand, and I am barely touching this with the black. Barely touching this with the black. So, and there's like an extra shadowy situation right there. There's gonna be a little extra shadowy situation up here. I call it the lipstick on the fish. You gotta put the lipstick on the fish because they kind of have this outlined on their mouth. So I'm gonna do that in the cobalt, just lightly going around that. Just barely getting it in there. And the cobalt might not be the right first color, but we're gonna make it work. I'm gonna grab Blue Lake. I love this color. I love this color, actually. Alright, so now I just kind of want to bounce around here. What color is this? Woo! Okay, so I've laid in, so here we go. I've laid in just a little bit of the mouth color. I don't want to finish it because I need to develop the colors all the way around it. That's one of the other things you have to learn. You don't. I have a really hard time. I've watched photorealistic illustrators and painters and designers that can start in one tip of the subject matter and then work their way completely out from that. And man, I wish I could do that, but I can't. I have to start laying all my things in kind of all the way around the fish. So that's what we're getting ready to do here. So this is Blue Violet Lake. I like this color a lot. So this fish is coming up out of the water at an angle. So there's going to be some darker shadow on this side of his jaw here. And I've drawn a few of those lines to kind of give you the indication as to where that might be. So now these shadow colors are obviously gonna get darker, so I'm not pressing super light on here. I'm just putting in this first layer of color. So we've got that, and then we've got that. Okay, and then we've got there's a shadow there. There's a pretty deep shadow here. And we're gonna blend that up to the eye real soft, because right in this area here there's gonna be a lot of transition between shadows and lights, and we're gonna change these colors up here to be more of a blue-green instead of the lavender blue. So we wanna be really careful with what we're doing here. I'm gonna put a base layer on the pectoral fin because their pectoral fins on the white marlins read a little more periwinkle than they do any other color, and so I just want to put a little bit of this down, and I am barely touching this. Okay, that's cool. Look at that. That's cool. That's super cool. Okay, now, so we're starting to see a little bit of this take shape. Now, right here, I can see that on the tips of this, I'm going to grab the lavender, because on the tips of this, it's a little on the purple side. Ooh, that's so pretty! Y'all, I don't think it'll ever get old painting these fish, illustrating these fish, drawing these fish, talking about these fish. I love these fish so much that I don't think it'll ever get old. I don't think it'll ever get old. Okay, so now every time I do that, it reminds me of the tiki-talk of the 60 minutes thing. Back when I watched the news. Okay, let's see. This is light cerulean blue. I need to swatch that color. We're gonna save that for later. Okay, let's get into some of the darker shades now. This is violet blue. I love this color on these fish. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous color. The other thing we need to do is this. The sails have a tendency to have this beautiful purple hue to them. Now, the easiest way to get to that is throw down a layer of a neon pink. Once you've got that handled, I'm just looking. This fish is hard. No, this fish is not hard. It's not hard. It's hard. No, it's not hard. You can do this. You've got this. Woo! See, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so then how does this work? So I start on this side, going directly over that. A little bit of that pink is still showing through, right? These guys never stop swimming. They have to swim to breathe. That's why they make transatlantic migrations, chasing food, and they have to swim to breathe. Isn't that amazing? Can you imagine not really sleeping like what we're accustomed to? And I think that these fish have a mechanism in their brains that allows them to shut down portions of their brain at a time, to rest portions of their brain. But I'll have to look that up and see what all of that really is. So that, oh my goodness, sorry, I got super excited there, because when it starts to work, I'm like, yes! But for real. So, and, wow, I'm just rambling. I think I just need to be quiet and color for a minute. You know, one of the biggest goals for us is to be able to give away art supplies. And so we're trying to come up with a way to excite everyone who's watching these videos and to make that a possibility. And so I'm wondering, and I don't want this to be some gimmick either, because like I'm not about the gimmicky stuff. I truly care about you. I truly care about your artistic journey. I truly care if you're having trouble, because I think I can fix some of those problems. I love the fact that we're filming these step-by-step so you can see exactly what goes into it. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just all the things I've learned over the last 30 plus years, 40 years of trying to be an artist, and I'm sharing all of that stuff with you. And so, but I wanna be able to, I wanna connect with you. I wanna build this community with y'all, whether you're young or old like me. I wanna know what you're doing. I wanna know what projects you're working on. So I wanna start a program in this where you can send us a photograph of the image that you completed, and from one of our books, or from our painting kits that are going to be launching in the not too distant future. And I want to be able to do giveaways, you know, and not necessarily on how good the piece is. So what if we did it like where you tell me what you learned? Because that's what this is about. If you're successful, if you learn one new trick. And when I get excited and you see me get excited, it's because right then in that second, I just realized something new that I didn't necessarily know before. I just realized that a particular color combination works, which is these three colors These 4 colors that I have in my hand right now are actually starting to do a pretty dang good job on this sailfish sail here. And so, or it's not a sailfish, sorry, it's a white marlin. That's a cerulean blue. But I want this china blue. Ooh, yeah, let's try that. I want this to be an experience that you all look forward to. I want to program, you know, redo the programming that, you know, I find that when somebody colors or paints or whatever something once, then they're like, okay, 3 into it, I have to start selling these or I'm not a valid artist. You are an artist. You're an artist if you never sell something. The goal should never be, when you're first starting out, to sell something. It takes all the joy and all the excitement out of the entirety of the project. The goal should be to just get better so that when you are creating, it's actually fun instead of stressful. Because if your creation is stressful, then you might as well be working for someone else and doing a job in an office somewhere. Because, you know, you're getting about the exact same return on investment there. Total stress, total whatever. I am seeing some... This video is all over the place. I know. I don't even... It's because it's not scripted. We never write a script. We never stick to the script, and even if we did, I wouldn't be able to remember the script anyway, so I would just ramble on. And when Chase isn't here to keep me in line, because he's out getting coffee with Stephanie right now, I just ramble on. Okay, hot pink. Really? There's a hotter pink than the ooh. Turns out there is a hotter pink than the neon. Back to Blue Lake. I'm gonna need to sharpen this. These Prismacolors are divine, but very soft. So you might, on this one, because the dorsal thin lines are so tiny, you might actually need to really pay attention to how sharp your points are to be able to get the details that you're looking for in there. Okay, so this is a highlight here. So leave me a comment below and let me know what you think would be cool, because I would love to be able to give away, like say we had so many, after we had 100 comments, we randomly select, we use the computer thing to randomly select somebody to win a box of Prismacolors, you know? I mean, like that is my life goal. To be able to make sure that everybody, just like they say that every person is entitled to clean water, I think that's true, but I also think that every person is entitled to all of the art supplies necessary to make their life happy. Whether you ever sell a piece of art or not, you don't even need to think about selling art. You just need to be thinking about what the color of the dorsal fin is on the shadow side. That's what you need to be thinking about. Okay, let's try this. This is not gonna work. There's no way that's the right color. Is that the right color? No. That's denim blue. Give me ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue is probably yes. Yes, that's the color. Okay, so we have in here, besides having these super deep lines, oh my goodness, these are so creamy and delicious. Okay, I'm gonna try Copenhagen blue.
Copenhagen blue. Isn't Copenhagen supposed to be like brown and super gross and bad for you?
I think in this particular case it's referring to a place.
Ah, I hear it's lovely this time of year. We got 10 minutes on both of those. I'm gonna restart those for a second.
Okay, I'm using the Copenhagen blue to start putting in barely some of the shadows on this fish. And I'm kind of bouncing around because I'm still not satisfied with the color choices that I have picked for the sail. For his dorsal fin, it's not a sail, it's a dorsal fin. Oh, that might be it. Okay, so I'm going to come in with some of this Imperial Violet. And I am barely touching the tip of this dorsal fin. I mean, barely. And it also shows, it should, if I'm correct, and the light's coming from where I think it's coming from, then it should have a little bit of a highlight and a little bit of reflective light right here. So we want to get that down. And then I think that the correct thing to do is use this Caribbean Sea over the top of it to get the exact color of highlighty blue that I'm looking. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, I'm just gonna start building this up because it's beautiful. So this is a highlighty area here. That's why it's drawn on there for me to remember. This is sort of how I map out my stuff when I'm working. Okay, so let's get back into this. Now let's see about pulling some. Okay, I'm gonna sharpen. Ooh, that one's beautiful too. I forgot about that color. Wow. Wow. I'm gonna sharpen my cobalt. So the fish is going to be drawn all the way out to the end here. Kind of drawing in the formation. Oh, I see. This is actually darker. That is. Blue lake again. Going back to the blue lake. I can't tell what I've done. That's part of the problem. I can't tell what I drew on here. So I'm just going to color over all of it. See how that color changes when you just start to dribble over the top of it? It's really beautiful. Okay, now I know that this is going to be lots of interference colors, changing shape here, the whole 9 yards. This is going to be super, super interesting here. And then this is going to come down. So let's start mapping in. I'm using sky blue light. I'm going to start just putting in this color. And right here it is gill plate, I'm really using the arch, and then right here I'm just kind of shading it out. So we got the same thing here. I'm going to color in the direction of his face. This is his jawline underneath. Now we have to put in all the light stuff first and then come back in with the dark. These fish are so beautiful. I just can't get over it. I can't get over how beautiful they are. Really and truly can't get over how beautiful they are. Okay, so let's put in the purple. Let's go back to Imperial Violet. Going to very, very lightly come in right over that. I don't know what that is right there. I think there's something underneath there. This part right here that we're working on is going to be shadowed. So I'm just coming in very, very lightly. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so that was the Copenhagen, right? Okay, so let's come in here with some of this Copenhagen and see if we can get it to do what we want it to do. Excuse me. So there's the Copenhagen. Here comes the ultramarine. Gonna come in and outline where his body starts to change colors. And then I'm gonna bounce back to the dorsal fin. What? Gonna very lightly go over that area that we kept lighter colored. And I'm just gonna back in with Caribbean Sea and see if coloring over it with this then blends everything out the way we want it to be blended out. I feel like I'm still losing my highlights in this. Which is clearly not what I was going for. There's Tuffy and Chase coming back from a walk. I'm going to pick back up the cobalt. Here's the cool thing about these colored pencils is that you can keep going back in to a certain degree. I'm sure it's not an infinite amount of times that you can continue to go back in and make changes. But you can just sort of add more line character to your drawing and change the perspective of each section. Now that is starting to look pretty dang good. It's okay. It's not terrible. And that's how we're operating. It's not terrible. Okay, so then we've got some lighter colors in through here. We're going to barely come in through here. Oh, it sounds like the yard crew is here today. It has been such a blessing to live in an area where yard maintenance just gets handled by a homeowners association. And I'm not responsible to mow or any of that. Pull the weeds in the driveway, pull the weeds on the back patio, and that's really it. Can't tell you that I'm happy with any of this yet, but I'm gonna get that way. Cerulean blue. Oh, hello. I'm gonna use the cerulean blue to sort of start coming up with some of these areas here. Some of those shadowings. This is part of his jowl, you know, the waddle part here. I need some purple inside the mouth. What? That was awesome, actually. I could use some of that. Oh yeah, there we go. What? That's lilac. Goodness, that's so beautiful. Let's go back to Blue Lake. Okay, now we have to address the fact that there's actually some purpley blue, so I need the violet blue. Here we go. Oh, there it is. There's that color. Look what's happening. Okay, so it's really starting to take shape. I'm going to use some of the denim blue down here on the body that's further away. With this. Oh yeah, that was powder blue right over the top of that, and that gave me the highlight I was looking for. Now I was pushing pretty hard on that one. Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow. That's gonna work with that. Then let's run that powder blue all over. Oh, here we go. Hello. Hello. Look what that did. That just popped out all the work we've been doing. Ooh, don't go that way. Color with it. That was a mistakey. Just a little bit of dribble coming off of those coming off of the colored pencil there. Just a little bit of stuff. Dust, I guess is what it's called.
Dust.
A little bit of dust. Okay, so that's actually looking pretty dang good.
I like it. It's interesting that you're using the neon, the fluorescent pink.
Mm-hmm.
And the end result, it makes that color pop like you want it to. I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of shocked. I'm shooketh myself that it actually does what it's supposed to, what I want it to do. But, you know, it's really important that you know your pigments. When you're doing this, it's really, really important that you know your pigments. Oh, wow. Okay, back to... Gonna go back to the denim. Come in here on the bill. Do you know how hard it is to draw the bill of this fish? It is the worst part of all of it. Because one little bobble and your bill has a bend in it. It's got a kink. I'm going to come in with the denim and do a little bit of love on some of this too, because remember, I'm going to come in here and super highlight. That was light aqua. I'm going to come in here and super highlight with the metallics, and the metallics show up much better over a dark base. So, China blue, here we go. This is the trouble I run into.
What's the trouble?
I want to go back in and highlight all of these things, and I might be able to do that with gouache and with, you know, whatever, but I've already lost this color of blue right here should have been down here as well. This is the color that should have been inside here. So. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you really turn that on?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so back to this. I just colored outside of the lines because I'm kind of famous for that. I'm not going to stress out about it. I'm going to start kind of blocking in some of these. I think I'm really pretty much using the colored pencils just to get the outline of everything down. And then I'm going to go back in and try to make it all work. Okay, that needs to go darker, I think. Needs to go darker. The eye definitely needs to get developed. The jaw definitely needs to get developed. There's definitely some things missing in all of this that have to go in there before we break out the big guns and start doing the bits with the glitter paint, which is, you know, I just always want to just skip to that part because it is the best part. So let's grab the violet here because this needs to be darker. This ridge right here needs to be a lot darker. Ooh, look at that color pop. I'm trying to be super delicate with this because I've got my ridge in there, but I need this extra color. Coming in with this violet, putting the lipstick on, you know, going around the bill, around the opening of the mouth. Okay, back to the hump on the face. Going around it one more time. I'm gonna get a little bit darker here. Gonna kill a mosquito. Just continuing to build up and build up and build up these layers here because I know they're there. I just can't quite see them all yet. I'm going to come back up here and add in some of the extras. Yo, I'm trying to kill a mosquito. I swear I keep seeing it. It's a phantom mosquito. back to Copenhagen blue. Add a little bit of green back into that because that's what that's going to do. Well, I may have muddied this. I don't know if I like it yet or not. I just don't know. I'm gonna add a little bit of this to the side here. Ooh, look at that. And remember, this is just so that we have a base to put the metallic paint on top. So this doesn't have to be anything in particular with regards to correct. I feel like there's like a well, I think it's coming together. I don't know that it's perfect, but it's coming together. Light cerulean blue. No. Well, maybe. Maybe up here? Maybe. Oh, yeah, maybe in the mouth. Here we go. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going over it pretty brutally with a white here. I'm trying to kind of shade some of this, fill this in so I can kind of see what's happening. Now, I'm not a fan of the eyeballs yet, but I think that we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good.
Look pretty nice.
Does it look good?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so
It's almost like you know what you're doing.
Cobalt blue. So we're gonna bring some of this out like so. Some of this cobalt up into here, even though I've drawn a line to let you know where the flipper ends. I'm going to color directly over that and just sort of, you know, add some of that up in there. This is obviously darker in here. This is obviously darker in here because of the location, but that needs to be more in the green, so let's go in here and grab Mediterranean blue. Okay, so here we go. True blue. I need to start putting in the water. I don't know that I like that color. Cerulean blue. Gonna come in and start working in some of this water. You know, I'm really a fan of the aqua water. That's my jam. But I know that these guys are caught deeper, and so the water is really more cobalt, and it's brilliant cobalt. I mean, it is just, it's like molten glass offshore. If you've never been offshore, it is magical to watch the water work. Magical. See, the problem we're gonna run into. Maybe not. Here we go. Problem solved. So I'm gonna color it, and then I'm gonna go over all of it with this, and then I'm going to come back in with the Posca pens and make sure that and highlight all of these little highlighty doohickeys here. So let's get into it. Let's get this laid in here. You know what? I might actually outline this fish with white this time, because that would be a different technique than what we've done so far. A little true blue here. Oh yeah, that true blue is really pretty in there. Woo! Start putting in some of this splashy. It was always very difficult for me to learn to paint the water, because the water never stops moving enough for you to actually be able to focus on it. So I always had some trouble with that. Maybe there's a little bit of water coming off of that dorsal fin, which there would be. You know, and maybe he is just like laying in the water up here. We're just gonna loosely and sloppily kind of lay that in. Super light, super lightweight. Here. No idea if I'm gonna like this or not. No idea. What I do know is that I gotta get some of this color in there. Let's go back to the cobalt. Oh, that cobalt is so pretty. I don't know. Could be good, could be poop. I don't know. Non-photo blue. Well, in hindsight, this painting is a lot of blue on 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 blue. So I don't know if it's good or if it's poop because it's so much blue on blue. I'm going to start trying to blend out some of this color. Ugh. Not with powder blue, because I need something with a little more green hue in it. Let's do it with this one. Let's grab this. This is Palm Sage. Let's try the Palm Sage. I gotta sharpen it first. Because I'll go in and I'll add some things with the Poscas. That'll be okay. That might be a little too yellowy green. You can do it in a few areas. Probably not all of it. Ugh. Learning curves. Gray, green, light. Maybe this one. Telling you that I am going to end up highlighting gray, green, light. I'm probably just gonna make this more of a illustration style. Well, that's just poop. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Okay, so no to that. Let's try this one. Okay, okay. Sky blue light. That might be the color that we should have used all along. Cobalt, where are you at? That's China. Here's cobalt. Here we go. okay. It's not terrible. It's not 100% where I want it to be, but it is not terrible. It is not terrible. So now let's come in here and let's start making some splishy splashies here with the Posca right on top, and then we're just gonna kind of meld those. Oh, see, that's working. Okay. It's always kind of important that you come in and make sure you're touching it with something. It doesn't have to be your fingers, but you want to bring that Posca white down a little bit. And I'm not, you know, drawing exact shapes at first. I'm just kind of putting in some lines and then letting some of that color underneath show through. See, and then you just barely touch it. And that just gives the illusion that you put a ton of work into it. When maybe you didn't really have to. But I think these are all great studies for doing paintings later. It's pretty much what this is. It's a study. This is the first white Marlin I've ever done. And it's in my book. I don't know which one this is. It's okay. It's not really, you know, it's not as brilliant as it could be, but it's okay. Alright, let's get into this. Let's get into figuring out what colors we're going to put on this face, on this fish's face and body. I'm going to go into a little bit of this because I'm seeing... What? Actually, you know what, y'all? I know. Down blue. I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna rub this color all over this part of the fish right here. Because in order to get this metallic paint to really show up, I need to build up the base of this just a touch. Just by doing that. See, look, that comes right off. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it comes right off. So let's get into it here. Let's come in with a little bit of, woo! Woo! Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Man, I am just, the shimmer that these produce is just never gonna get old. It's never gonna get old. I'm never gonna be like, yeah, that's okay, that's cool. I'm always gonna be super excited when I get to use this shimmer paint. And it floats right on top of the colored pencils flawlessly. It's just divine. Let's grab a little bit of this for the end here. Let's grab a little bit of this pink and a little bit of this purple. Put some of that right in here. Interference blue. Let's get started, shall we? Oh wow, that is it. That is it. Interference gold. Interference green. A little bit of the silver. Work that eyeball. They have the most amazing eyes of anything on the planet. Their eyes are spectacular. They're just spectacular. Wow. Let's work some of that gold. work some of that silver. Actually, this is straight up pearl. This is probably the most intense color in the whole palette. Darks. I don't know. This one's awfully blue on 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 blue with some blue. Let's add some sparkle to the water because it's our water and we can make it glittery if we want. And I'm sorry, but I think glitter makes everything better. Actually, I'm not sorry. I don't even know why I said I'm sorry, because I'm not sorry. Because it's true, glitter does make everything better. And it's our painting, we can color it how we want to. So I'm gonna lay in some of this glitter back here behind. Woo! Because fish are beautiful. That's why, because fish are beautiful. I'm gonna take a dry brush and kind of pull some of the excess off of here. Actually, it's starting to dry the way I want it to. I'm gonna just sort of work some of these a little bit. Now what I've learned is that you can kind of go back in and rework some of these things here. Let's add a little bit more love over in here.
It looks really good, Rio.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I knew what I was doing all along. Wow. I'm gonna bring down the shimmer on the bill just a touch, just by simply running the color over it again and again. So we've got that. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it is pretty, and that's what I'm going for, is for it to be pretty. So let's get in here and let's add some more splotches of white paint. I think I grabbed the wrong Posca pen. Here we go. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's grab some gouache. Let's gouache it out. just gonna roll my brush around because I want some of this to be super random. And I like it, but the gouache really kills the sparkle. There was hair in that. Did you see that? I don't even know where the hair came from. What? Look at that. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going to have a little bit of the gouache over here, a little bit of it over here. I want it to be a little bit lighter though because it's behind the painting. So we've really, you know, like splashed it up here. So this fish is really just about finished. For the tutorial anyway, you know the drill. I could go on and 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 on, but no, we're gonna call it. So I have to look at it through my phone before I decide if it's good or not, because I just don't know. I think it needs darker colors in it. I know it needs darker colors in it. Excuse me.
Is that a peacock bass?
Why, yes. Yes, it is, Sace. It's a peacock bass.
That's interesting.
I thought they were more orange than that.
I heard you can only find those in like the Amazon.
right. Okay, I need maybe my pen. Nope, not my pen. I need my Posca marker. I think I'm gonna have to go get some more. How did I live without all of these art supplies before this? Ooh, I kind of like it outlined. Should I outline it, y'all? Let's outline this one and just see, because even if we don't like it, it's okay, because it's just practice, and then we know that we don't like it outlined.
You almost done here?
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm gonna finish the outline.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like every one you do just gets better and better and better.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think so too.
Like your water actually looks like water.
The thing is that what I would like to challenge you to do is just try something new on each page. You know, you can always get another book. It's not that big of a deal. Just try something new on each page. And that's what I'm doing, and I believe that this is gonna help me with the actual paintings that I do on the wall, because this takes all the nerves out of trying something new and thinking, oh my gosh, I just put all this work into this painting and now I'm gonna ruin it. This makes it more of a graphic illustration, and I'm okay with that. I really kind of like it. I'm just gonna go all the way around all the gouachy water that I drew here. No! Ha! Look at that! Saved it. Drawing over a little bit of that gouache. Holy cow. Gonna outline these lines up here that I'm not really a fan of. I got a little crazy with drawing all the waters, y'all. And maybe I don't need all them waters in there. Okay, now it maybe needs one more teeny tiny little swoosh swoosha of some glitters. Holy balls. Holy balls. Because I think that glitters are beautiful. Beautiful. In fact, I want to kind of dry brush off. That's beautiful. Okay, I gotta call it. I just gotta quit. It's so pretty. Oh wow, that's not very good. Let's fix a little of this here. Got a little jiggy with it. Okay, Sace says it actually looks like water. Let's do the phone check. Oh wow. It just keeps getting better, I think. That right there needs to be. This is why you do the, where's my paintbrush? Oh, where is my paintbrush? Here it is. This right here needs to be a little more in the pink and a little more in the orange. So I'm gonna put that in there right now. There we go. You know, every time I say just a little bit more, we just use that term loosely. A little bit more, just a little bit more.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's done.
Okay.
I think it's done. Okay. I have to call it. I have to stop because if I don't, I'm just gonna keep going, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But how long can you sit and watch one person do a tutorial? Where is my pen that I signed this with? Okay, that's it for the white Marlin. If you feel like you have questions about how I did this, feel free to leave comments in the comment section because we answer all of them. No question is too silly. I ask some of the most ridiculous questions on purpose. In fact, if you want to ask me some ridiculous questions and make it funny, we can do that as well. So anyway, leave a comment below. Let me know if you need anything else from me. Let me know what you want to see us color next. And I'm Rio. This has been Coloring Passports. I'll see you on the next page.